What is up, everyone? Coffee Break is back with another video. Before we get started, I want to talk about our sponsor of this video, SimBull. SimBull is the stock market for sports that allows you to trade sports teams like the stocks and earn cash payouts when your teams win. SimBull has blended sports and the stock market to offer you a new way to invest and profit off your favorite teams. No high fees, no high losses like you have to worry about in gambling. Use your sports knowledge to buy low, sell high, and earn cash payouts when your teams win. Join the early adapters and invest in your favorite team. I already done so. I already got some of my Sim 49er stock. Look, I'm all in, baby. Visit www.simbull.app or visit the link in the description below to create a free account. And when you deposit, make sure to use promo code COFFEEBREAK for a $10 deposit bonus and buy a share of your favorite team. Again, visit SimBull.app and use promo code COFFEEBREAK for a $10 deposit bonus to build your portfolio. Come build it with me, guys. Start investing now. And yeah, again, when the Niners win, you'll be able to win. Again, Coffee Break, promo code in the description below. Let's start the show. So what's up now, Aaron? How's it going?
Good. How you been, man?
I'm good. Just trying to stay just keep up with the news. So
Right.
I texted you, right? Kerry Hyder to the Seahawks. 3 years, pretty much a $17 million contract. What is your initial reaction to that?
I wanted the Niners to keep. I'm not surprised the Seahawks took him. Right. The Seahawks love if someone played for the Niners. I don't know what it is
Yeah.
with the Seahawks. They love to take them or love to try to get them. But we talked about last time. I'm a big Hyder fan from a depth position, especially like I said with Bosa. If you have Hyder, you can put Bosa on kind of a snap count, right, and bring them along very slowly. Because I mean, Hyder balled last year. I mean, he was a guy left on the scrap heap, and the Niners picked him up. He played really well. So sucks for the Niners. It's not, assuming Bosa is fully healthy, it's not as big a loss, but definitely someone you want to see come back for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that he got that much, to be honest. What it averages out to like five over like maybe like 6 million a year, let's just say. Um, you know, defensive end or just edge for the Niners is kind of like a position because of their defensive line coach, Chris Korsaric. Like they love getting these guys, these prove it deal type of guys to come in and knowing that you could put them in with that coach and get results like Kerry Hyder gave you last year. I mean, I think he ended up with what, 8 sacks or something.
Yeah, eight and a half. It was
Yeah,
8 point.
8.5. That's a lot, and that's obviously a career high for him, I believe. He wasn't really contributing at all in other places. Comes here, Sala, Chris Korsaric, they did their magic, and boom, he blossomed. And you love to see him get paid. But the Niners did counter that. They signed Jordan Willis, which that was another surprise type of move. That they made that. I guess they made that move surprisingly last year, right?
Right.
They got that trade for the Jets, and then he surprisingly like shined. He had key moments, like wasn't getting a lot of playing time, but when he was in there, I felt like he did the best with his playing time, and I think at one point he either tied or surpassed like Eric Armstead's sack numbers, which was a kind of a little jab more so to Eric Armstead than anything. But I found that funny. Like during the season, he only played half a season with the Niners. But yeah, like moves like Jordan Willis to me is kind of the Niners' MO.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Seahawks paid so much because they need D line help, right? I mean, they need somebody after the quarterback. They got
Seriously.
who they lose Dunlap. they lost somebody else, and so they need. So I'm not surprised he kind of, and maybe that was the deciding factor. They just kind of overpaid. That's why he went to Seattle. I don't know what
Yeah.
he offered. I'm sure the Niners offered him a contract. I'm not sure what it was, but I'm sure they offered him something, right? I mean, he played well. If you could bring him back, maybe on a cheaper deal, but once Seattle offered that much money, he wasn't going to pass that up, which I don't blame him. You know,
Yeah, Seattle needed him more than we did, to be quite
yeah,
honest with you.
and
I'm sure they
both is
put
a good
that
player.
number over the top for him to come.
Yeah. And then I kind of like how the Niners kind of do this, right? If they miss out on the guy or someone leaves, like you see them, they make a kind of a quick, it's almost like a counter punch, right? They make someone else make sign like, okay, no problem. We'll take that guy then. Like, no problem. We got this one over here.
Yeah.
They're thinking ahead. This is I'm very impressed by Lynch this offseason. Just the maneuvering, the cap maneuvering. I mean, this is the first season where he's really had to deal with a cap issue, right? Before they weren't very good, so they didn't really have any high dollar players, so he could kind of throw money at people. This is the first year he really had to deal with cap, resigning a lot of the players, all that, and so far has managed it amazingly well. So
Yeah.
it goes to them.
Yeah. Like I said, man, anything they do at this point is just like the cherry on top, icing on the cake. Because I feel like the Niners already have like an A plus type of off season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then did you also hear that they signed a defensive tackle,
No, I
Zach
didn't.
Kerr?
No.
Yeah. They got another guy, Zach Kerr. Again, this news just broke. And so they got him. I think he played for, trying to see here, Carolina. Played with Carolina last year.
Okay.
But just a similar type of guy like Jordan Willis, journeyman, um, that come to this team and just produce. Like, there's no complaints. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna put him in positions to succeed. So, but all this like kind of leads, because I haven't talked to you about Jaquaski Tart. We got, yeah, I mean, well, first, let's kind of go back a little bit. They signed first, what is it, Tavon Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
That was the safety they signed first. That news broke Monday morning. And, at that point, I'm just like, okay, it's clear. Tart, we're moving on from Tart,
Right.
probably doing some sort of like camp battle between Wilson and Tavarius Moore. Who knows, right? Drafting another safety. But then they just doubled down and got Jaquaski Tart to a 1-year deal. That is huge. I mean, that is just as huge as any other one of these deals that came through.
Yeah, I wonder if the Wilson deal kind of brought Tart maybe back to the table, right? Like the Niners said, look, we got Wilson. We don't have to have you. I wonder if that brought Tart back to the table. Obviously, the market, I think, more due to his injury history. I mean, he's a good safety. When he's healthy, Tart is a very good safety. The issue
Yeah,
is like with
just
almost every
health.
Niner we speak of, it's when he's on the field, that asterisk. And I wonder if getting Wilson, then he was like, well, the market's not looking good. And I was like, hey, we still want you back, and he was like, all right, fine. Like, let's go. I think that might have spurred him to then be like, you know what? Okay. Like this is my best chance here. He knows the system. He knows the players. Him and Ward have been playing together since what, high school, I think. They've been teammates since high school, something like that.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
Yeah, like been together like since high school. So I think the opportunity to come back and probably seeing the moves they've made too, right? Like you said, the cherries on top, like seeing what Lynch has done, seeing the moves they made, like that might have helped too. Like, okay, I think we all thought this was going to be like maybe an off year. It's like, no, they're looking to continue to contend. So
This
I'm right
is
back.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, because a lot of teams don't have cap space, we were able to sign Tart. This is what pretty much it came down to, because he only signed a 1-year deal, meaning it's a prove-it deal for him. He's like, I'm just looking forward to be a free agent again next year, where then the cap space opens up again, and that benefited the Niners. And also, what's probably not being talked about a lot is D Ford restructuring his deal, giving us what, like 20 million extra.
Yeah.
Like which other team can say that, right? Like, here's 20 million. I just pulled, the rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah.
And it's all because he was generous enough to restructure it. And I wouldn't hold it against him if he declined that, but the fact that he did it, it gave a lot more money for John Lynch to deal with. And I'm sure that, once they had signed Trent Williams and Alex Mack, I thought, okay, we're pretty much close to being done. We can look forward to the draft. But, we kind of underestimated how much money we got from restructuring that.
Yeah, that was huge. And word is that Ford is doing full running. So I basically he's betting that he's going to be healthy. That's
Don't
basically.
bring my hopes up, man.
I know, knock on wood,
Let's
but
knock
that's
on him. Yeah.
yeah, but that's the words that basically bet on himself. Like, hey, I think I'm going to be healthy. So yeah, I'll push the money forward because I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be fine, and therefore I'll make that money regardless. That was huge. And Tart with the 1 year deal, it's that perfect situation of if he can stay healthy, right? He plays a full 16 games at the level we've seen him play. Yeah, he could definitely cash in either from the Niners or from somebody else. A nice 3-4 year deal with maybe a little bit more top heavy on the dollar amount. So this is probably
Yeah.
a perfect situation, like I said, with cap space, or the shortened cap plus his injury history. Is like, hey, come back for a season, you play really well, you get a chance, you're going to be a starter, right? Like barring some craziness, is going to be the starter. So
Of
you stay
course. Yeah.
healthy, you have a chance. Basically, you get to audition for everybody else.
Yeah. It was like the perfect marriage at this point in time. Niners needed a strong safety. Jaquiski Tartt still kind of wants to prove himself. I'm sure the offers that were being thrown his way weren't too pleasing, especially, I'm not sure how many games did he miss this past year, but
6, I think.
um, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, he was probably looking at himself like, look, I could either sign with another team, get a little bit more money, probably, not going to be a contender, or I can re-sign with the Niners for at least 1 year, prove myself, and then be a free agent again next year. I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah, for both parties. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Has this been like John Lynch's best, like, free agency ever?
I think it's just his best off season. Just like I said, just seeing him deal with the cap issues. Like I said, you haven't really seen him having to deal with that, and just navigate this situation. Just I have to say, like, flawlessly, right? Like, I mean, if you told me at the beginning, like, oh yeah, Trent's come back and Tartan, all these players come back and they're going to pick up a couple, like, I would have said there's no without keep in mind without cutting Jimmy. Jimmy is still on this team. They did not free up that cap space from getting rid of Jimmy. So if you said they're going to do all this, I would say, oh, I assume they cut Jimmy, like they freed up the cap space or they trade something. He's not on the team. Nope, he's on the team, projected to be the starter. I would say, well, no, there's absolutely zero way unless like I would have said no way. So for him to do this and still have Jimmy on the books is just, like I said, kudos to him and his whole team. This has just been, I mean, man, what a the
They're just on
crazy
another
story.
level right now.
Yeah, just if you had any doubts about Lynch's ability, like I think this offseason is definitely just put those to bed. Very good.
Yeah. He's maintained a lot of guys who I thought would be gone. Like, I thought Juszczyk would be gone. Um, I was, hopeful with Trent Williams, but wasn't too sure just because the market, you just never know. And then, like, one little piece that he put out like some sort of video saying that he was like so close signing with the Chiefs. And then Shanahan called and they just got it done. They're just like, oh, I'm sure they were just like, oh, this is what the Chiefs are offering you. Okay, this is what we can offer. This is going to be the best deal that we can do. And, the rest is kind of history now.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, to do this without getting rid of Jimmy, huge. If you say, hey, they got Williams, like the one guy I think we probably everybody was like, don't let Williams go. If we keep Trent, cool. Like that's the one guy. And if we lose Juice, like that sucks, but it is what it is. And if you lose Tart, like I think the expectation was we wouldn't have Tart or Juice. Like there was going to be a fairly large name or two that weren't going to be on this team anymore. And the
Yeah.
fact that, like you said, we have Juice, we have Tart, we have Williams. I mean, the only guy left is K1 really from a
And
high
Sherman.
production standpoint, and Sherman. I mean, that's pretty incredible. I thought for sure it would be okay. We get Trent, but Juice is gone, Bourne's gone, who is gone, but Hart's gone. Like everybody else is gone. We just got a Trent. That's it.
Yeah.
Which would have been nice, but definitely you're like, all right, cool. But man, instead, like somehow we managed to, I don't know, somehow keep them all. I'm still not sure
Yeah.
how we did that.
Like I was on record saying all year, like a lot of these corners are in their last year. Like this roster is going to be completely different, specifically this defense. The fact that they've been able to at least keep, the safeties intact, defensive line somewhat, with Hyder being gone, but you get corners, you get, two out of the five that could potentially leave, with K1 and Sherman still being out there, Witherspoon signing with the Seahawks.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's been impressive what they've done. Like, honestly, I can't say, more good things,
Yeah.
but, we still have a draft that needs to happen. And I feel like with the recent moves, the Niners have gotten way more like flexibility at 12. They can go quarterback, corner, or trade back, get more picks. And, I guess the possibilities are endless now.
Yeah, it definitely puts them in a position where they can draft best player available, right? Whereas maybe before you have to lock in on a position.
Yeah.
Now you could, let's say Pitts is there at 12, the tight end from Florida. So he's at 12. Niners in position where they'd be like, yeah, Pitts and Kittle on the field together. Yeah, sign us up. Like they're in that, like you said, the flexibility is now they can kind of let the draft come to them, I think. Instead of having
Yeah.
to force the issue, they can let it play out and make moves accordingly. I think that's the best thing. Let the draft come to them.
Yeah.
The scramble or overreact to things. Hey, if nobody
Right.
that we really, really want is there at 12, like you said, trade back, or hey, best player available. Like the options are limited. They can just be very flexible with it, which I
That's
don't
a
like
good
desperate
point.
teams, right? Like
That
desperate teams make desperate moves, and they're usually not good moves.
Totally. That's a good point. I think that letting the draft come to you is the smartest thing that the Niners can possibly do, because when you are desperate, you make desperate decisions and then, cost your team like more draft picks just to try to trade up and draft your guy or that position.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, totally. I agree with that. I think it's going to be interesting. Right now, like as this roster's set up right now, you have Verrett and Mosley. Um, what if those were your top two corners? Would you feel like concerned?
Yes, only, and not I shouldn't say only. Yes, because of Verrett's injury history, right? And that's kind of like like I said, that's the entire Niners roster, really. But
Yeah.
if he's healthy, I have no issue. I think he's always shown when he's healthy, he's a top corner,
Yeah.
Pro Bowl corner. I think Mosley is your two is fine. If you can get some more depth behind that. I obviously wouldn't be upset about that, but Mosley's your two. Isn't I'm not terribly upset about that. I think he works better when he's your two, not when he's your one.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that. The only pause is, can Verrett, can he stay fully healthy? Because I was saying if he goes down, you have to slide Mosley. I don't know who your third is. Maybe if it's a rookie, now you're throwing them into a position where they're not ready for, and that can be bad news. So I'm not. All things being equal, it's a pretty good pair, I think. Just especially with the system they play, with the pass rush they're able to produce. Assuming Bosa is back, I like that a lot.
Yeah. I think the only thing that the Niners are missing is a nickel corner, someone who can cover the slot. Yeah. And we're still waiting on what K'Wan Williams does. I know some Niner players have been trying to recruit him, but that's still one position that they need to get someone,
Yeah,
but
if they didn't get K1, then that's man with Tartback Ward, like that's the line, but that is you feel really great about that defense. Just
yeah.
feel very good, very very good, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You get K1, like now it's more so you can get like best player available. And if that's, like you said, if that's Pitts, then no fan's gonna be like, oh, but we need this, we need that. Depending on who's there, that's how we can assess it. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's the way it should be. I'm always in the mindset of if I was a GM, I'd probably just go best player that I think is available.
yeah, it really is. You've already bought everything you need for dinner, right? And now you're just shopping for dessert,
Yeah.
right? That's what you're doing. You're just shopping for dessert. This is that, like you said, the cherry on top. That's all you're shopping for now is just that dessert. So you can just kind of peruse the aisle and just see what kind of catches your fancy. And it's a like I said, it's a great feeling to have. Like as I'm sure John Lynch and Shanahan, but as a fan to not feel like this overwhelming pressure, like we have to draft a corner, we have to get this guy. If they don't, if they don't get this guy or this position, like it's over. We're screwed forever. To just have that kind of feel like, we'll just see. Whoever they
Yeah.
take, I'm totally fine with. I'm good.
Yeah. Alabama had their pro day today. Did you see any of that?
I caught a little bit of Mac Jones. I happened to be at a bar for lunch and caught a little bit of Mac Jones.
What'd you think of Mac Jones?
It's so hard because he's an Alabama quarterback, and it's so hard to properly evaluate those guys. Right? They play with just such great talent around them. And I will be the first to admit, like I'm not like a scout or anything. Like I
Right.
can look at it at tape and say that looks good, but it's so hard when they're playing with receivers that go top 10 every year. They just turn and burn
That's
these
true.
running backs, and it's just how much of it is them, how much is the system. It's so if it was that good, like how come we haven't seen an Alabama quarterback succeed, right? I mean, we've seen him win Heisman's, multiple championships, and none of them seem to make it in the NFL like as starters, right? So that's, I guess, always my question. He looks good. He has the tools. Like you don't get to Alabama because you're a bum, but
But you're right. It's just like they can never take it to the next level. That doesn't mean it will translate so easily. But you know, we're seeing it with Tua, right?
yeah,
Like Tua kind of struggled a little bit.
yeah,
I look at it from the standpoint of I love Mac Jones. Like if he's there at 12, I'm picking him. That's
yeah.
how
Okay,
highly I think of him. Yeah.
okay, good. All right.
Um, I love his deep ball accuracy. He's accurate, period.
Yeah,
One of the more accurate quarterbacks coming from Alabama. And I just love that, like most of these other guys, they use their legs, right? They extend the play. And some of that is cool. Like Justin Fields does that all the time. But and again, I'm not a scout either. I'm just like a total dork that just loves watching football. But sometimes with Justin Fields, he like does does not see the entire play, kind of like what Kaepernick was experiencing late in his NFL career, where he just wasn't seeing the field at all. He was just, tucking and running.
yeah. That's a good
And
one.
so you see that in certain spots with Justin Field. And because Mac Jones can't, he reads he goes through his progressions very well. He puts the ball. I like where he puts the ball in the receiver's hands. Like he just puts it in the perfect spot. And when I was like, because I don't like watching the highlights. I just like watching the games because I
Mhm.
like to see all the bad stuff too. And he had a lot of opportunities to mess that Alabama team up. Some would say he's probably the weak link in the offense, right? Because you had a star offensive line, star receiver, star running back. Like he had everybody.
Right.
And he could have easily messed that up, but they won the entire thing. And I think he played a major role into that. So we do touch on quarterback not translating. A lot of the wide receivers from Alabama also like sometimes don't translate, or corners, like they just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. The
But
corners, especially, just because I think they're just superior athletes. And it's the thing I've always
yeah,
said about college. When the college to pros transitions, when you're in college, if you're that 1% athletic specimen, you're most of the people you play in college are not that, right?
yeah,
Everybody at Alabama is like, a 5-star recruit, and most of the teams they play are not that. But then when you get to the pros, like everybody's a five
everybody.
star recruit, everybody's the top 1% athlete like in the world. Like
Yeah,
everybody is that. You can't just be like, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm bigger. I'll just use that and I don't have to think really. I'll just
yeah,
use that. When you get to the pros, it's a totally like you have to, Sherman's a really good example. Someone's not the fastest, but is very smart, very cerebral, right? Peyton Manning, not the most athletic guy ever, right? But just very smart. Even Brady is a good example of someone who's not like the most, fleet of foot, but I mean the dude is smart, right? Like you
yeah,
said, the play, knows where the defense is. One thing I'll give Brady a lot of credit for, and I despise that man, just like I hate the Yankees, but it is almost impossible to beat him on a blitz. Like just
yeah.
impossible. Like he is so quick at reading that, like, nope, that's the blitzer, the boom, 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 the hot routes, and calling this like,
Peyton Manning, right?
yeah,
Like at that's still important. As much
yeah,
as we're seeing it in the NFL, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, we like to see the athletic quarterback, but at the end of the day, like when it comes playoff time, that kind of slows down, right? The game kind of slows down. It's more about running and, like you said, reading the blitz, reading the defense, going through your progressions. That's gonna win football games long term.
oh yeah,
Example, Tom Brady still doing it crazy, but that's just because that's the NFL. That's still part of the blueprint. And I think Mac Jones does it well. Again, I could totally whiff on this, but I just like his game.
yeah. And then speaking of quarterbacks, and I think I think I texted you with when we talk about the moves the Niners have made. One thing I think I texted you. I said now it's, I hate to say it's all on Jimmy, but I think the pressure ramps up, right? Whereas let's say they didn't bring Trent, and let's say they only brought back maybe one person from defense. Okay, this is maybe half of that team, that Super Bowl team, right? So you're like, well, now the pressure is not like now that pressure. Let's say they keep him, he's the number one guy, great. That pressure is on him because, like, look, we restocked the pantry, bro. Like, there's no reason for you not to make that 5-star dish. Like, we filled it up, fridge is full. Like, there's no reason for this not to happen, and that's one thing. Just that's the thing. Like this is, I think, his make or break season. Like for me, just looking at it, like they restocked it. There is no reason that you shouldn't see again, barring injury. But all things being equal, like this is it, right? Like if he doesn't do it this year, and that's not to say they still can cut him, they can still trade him. There's still a ton of time for now and start the season. But
Yep.
if he doesn't do it this year, I cannot imagine he's on the team the year after
Yeah.
that. Like there's just
Yeah. I mean, it's just I think the Niners I mean, they must understand who Jimmy is. Jimmy is just a guy who's not gonna take over the keys to the offense, right? He needs a balanced kind of offense, running game, go off of play action, things like that. And I think he does do certain things very well. But
mhm.
then if you just have him you know, um, dropping back on 3rd and long every single time, eventually you're going to see his flaws. And that's what happened a lot last year.
Yeah.
And then injury, that's just the main part of it. You can't stay on the field. That's going to be a problem all the time.
Yeah.
So what the Niners, I think, are hoping for is that he stays healthy. You've added great depth at offensive line. So you hope he stays healthy. And yeah, I mean, depending on how the year goes, I find it difficult to see him like back next year just because of certain cap, implications.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't think he would make it this far in in the Niners roster, right? So I thought he would be gone by this point. And early on, it looked that way. And so maybe they didn't find the right guy, or maybe they're still out there and they're just waiting on the draft, like you said, and anything can happen still. But I think it's smarter just to move on with him and just hope that is like, just hope that he isn't like upset about all this rumor happening while he's just trying to, have a little vacation this offseason.
Right. I mean, you hope he takes a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book, right? Rodgers was pissed. He admitted. He said he was pissed when they
Yeah.
drafted Jordan Love last season with the first round pick. He was pissed. And what did he do? He churned out an MVP season. Probably should have
Yeah.
gone to the Super Bowl. Matt LaFleur, that's a whole separate issue. But right, he put in like his best season, like 6, 7 seasons. I mean, the dude was a stud.
Right.
He channeled that. I don't know if Jimmy has that. Like Rodgers is one of those guys, like a Michael Jordan. Like he loves to play. He has to have that chip on his shoulder, right? He needs to hear a slight. He needs to hear like the negativity. That's what spurs like people like Rodgers, Michael Jordan, big time. Like he was just, you read the articles, just find something negative. So you could be like, oh yeah, like it would get him hyped. I don't
Yeah.
know if Jimmy is that guy, but I kind of hope he is that guy. I hope I hope he's secretly on Twitter reading what people are saying. And he's on Facebook and he's like, all right, I got you. I got some for I
Yeah.
hope he is that guy. I hope he is, I've always said, like, if he comes back and puts that kind of season, I'm more than happy to say I was wrong about Jimmy. Like,
Yeah.
that's a win for me as a
Yeah.
fan. Like, look, he comes and they win the Super Bowl. I'll be the first person to
Please
say, hell
prove me
yeah, I was
wrong.
wrong.
Prove me wrong. I would
Thank
come
you.
back on this podcast and
Yeah.
say I was dead wrong.
Yeah. It will be
Like, prove me
the
wrong.
first
Yes.
time. Yeah. You're happy to be wrong, right? Like, yes, I'm so happy I was wrong.
Right.
I just, like I said, it's kind of on him this season. I hope like you say, he does some things really well. His release is still one of the quickest in the league, bar
Oh,
none.
yeah.
It just, can he stay on? It's the caveat with almost every single 49er. Can he stay on the field? Like,
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
can do that, we get the Jimmy from 2 seasons ago, like you can win with that guy. You can, like, we got within 10 minutes of a title with that guy. You can win with that guy. It's just the question of is he playing, or is Josh Rosen playing 10 games this season? That's just not going to get it done. Obvious. No offense to Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
The chosen one, but no offense. But if Josh Rosen's ever doing anything more than taking knees at the end of a game, that's not good news.
No. Yeah. You never want that. And really the Niners fallback plan was Jimmy Garoppolo. That doesn't sound like a bad idea.
No, that's totally fun.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. We're just like, we're good. We're just gonna continue on like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And draft a quarterback, sure. I don't expect them to get like one of these top guys, right? I'd be surprised if they try to move up to draft one of those guys, like Zach Wilson, right?
Costs too much. I think Lynch is cost averse, right? Like, I think he sees the cost you'd have to, because you probably have to go top 2, top 3 to get Wilson, and that would cost.
I think if you really want a top quarterback, you're gonna need to get like ahead of Denver, ahead of Carolina,
Yeah, I know
which would be
Carolina's going to
like
push hard.
7. So
Yeah,
yeah, you want a top guy? You're gonna have to go trade with like Detroit
yeah. You may
at
have to go number
7.
2. You may have to go with Jets or 2, right? Am I wrong on that? Who's number 2?
Jets are 2. We have
I
the
think
Jaguars.
you may have to go
Balky's
Jets
gonna
at
mess
2.
that up. We know that.
Yeah.
Number 1,
Yeah. I mean, Lawrence is going 1. You may have to go Jets at 2 to get
Jets is the most interesting one because of Salah, right? That recognition. You're just like, when are they gonna make a deal? It's not if, it's just when. We don't
yeah.
know about the draft. Like, I'm not saying the first round, maybe second round, third round. You know,
Yeah.
probably Salah do him a solid. Like, all right, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely will draft a quarterback. It's just a question of where, what round. I think to your point about Matt Jones, if he's sitting there end of the first round, I could see him jumping back into the first round to grab him. If he's still sitting there at 26, let's
I'd
say.
be surprised. Yeah, I'd really be surprised if he's there that late. Just based on like people are putting him. I think for sure top 5, but top 3. Some of them have him slotted top 3.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they have him ahead of Fields. I know Chris Sims, when he put out his list, they had him ahead of Fields and Trey Lance. So I'm not saying it's possible. I think he's gone like top 10, to be honest, depending on how they fall.
Yeah.
But either way, like if 3 quarterbacks are drafted before the Niners pick at 12, some great player, position player is gonna fall right into the Niners lap.
Yeah. Yo, yeah. That's the thing. Like you said about maybe Pitts falling to them, or I'm trying to think who else. Maybe Waddle, maybe. I mean, there's a couple position players that could easily, if the first 10 picks are quarterback heavy, you're going to get a very good position player is going to fall into your lap. And that's said for about letting the draft just come to you, and then you can, make that play. Maybe someone says, "Hey, we really want Pitts. We'll throw you an extra first round pick," and then you can, make some other moves with that. There's all kinds of, I mean, just kind of depend on how the quarterbacks fall. That's going to kind of dictate everything else from there.
Yeah. Just remembered Seattle doesn't have a first round pick, which is funny.
No,
And the Rams.
yeah, this year, next, I think the Rams don't have a first round pick for the next 3 seasons, something like that, from the Ramsey deal, and then the
Oh
Stafford.
yeah. The Rams just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
They're just like, here, have all the draft picks. We just want guys that we know are already good.
yeah,
They hate drafting.
and in Seattle, yeah, with the Adams deal, they I won't say they shot themselves in the foot, but they could definitely use some of that draft capital, right? They have O line needs, they have D line needs. I mean, they got Hyder, but they have some holes that Adams unfortunately is not going to plug for you. So they
No, yeah. They
capital.
they're super aggressive all the time.
Yeah,
And this is the result of it.
yeah. That's
Like,
why I said last year when Niners didn't get. I was like, that's good. I don't like. I'm sorry, but getting up that much draft capital
that's
for
way too much.
a
Yeah.
safety.
When did that become a thing? When you just throw your first rounders at people? Like back then, it used to be like you hold on to those until like, okay, quarterback, sure, we'll give you a first round. But they're throwing that, they're throwing those picks out too loosely. I get it from one standpoint. It is kind of like Russian roulette. Like you just don't know with some of these guys, especially quarterback specifically.
Right.
You like it's a roll of a dice. But when you're talking about a position player like a linebacker, or running backs, like all those guys have great value. But what they put on tape translates pretty easily to the NFL.
Right.
It's just like certain positions like, quarterback, cornerback. Trying to think what else. Offensive line somewhat, maybe tackle.
Yeah. Depending on the system. Yeah.
Yeah. Um Defensive line kind of translates pretty easily. Like if a guy just if you can see it on tape, like, damn, this guy's pretty solid.
Right. Yeah. Because a
Uh,
lot of it's technique, with especially with D line. You can see like, hey, they have really raw like skills, like they're just athletically gifted, and we can teach them the technique. We can line that in. Like Kinlaw, I know that was some of the talk was like, hey, if they can just kind of get his technique in line, like this
yeah,
guy's gonna be a beast. Whereas like Bosa came in as like basically a finished product. Like the dude was just
dude was already ready like a year before he got
yeah.
like eligible.
He was
Like,
like a top four. He was a top four DM when he got drafted automatically. It was like this dude's a top four guy
yeah,
just instantly. Yeah, that mostly quarterback is that one because system and players like just dictate so much. You know
wide
where they,
receiver is another one
yeah,
that's just like you don't know. It's like could be,
yeah,
but
they just faster than everybody else. I mean, there's always that guy that blows everybody away with their speed, John Ross. And then it's like, but can you run a route? Can you get off a jam? Can you block in the run
yep,
game? Like there's so many other things that like speed's great. You can't like I say you can't teach speed, but it but it
it's not
brings
the
up
end all be all.
yeah, but if you can't teach speed and you have that, but you don't have anything else, well, then why didn't you learn any of the other things, right? Like you already had the speed. No one had to teach you that. So why didn't you focus on these other, like those other technique issues, right? How to run routes, how to block, all those. Like if you totally neglected those things, I have questions, right?
Yeah,
Like, man, you could have been something super special, right? So that's definitely one. Yeah, receivers every year. It's like, oh, that guy's really he ran as fast 4.24. You're like, okay, can he catch the ball?
yeah,
Like, can he run a route? Like, I mean, like that's the thing. Like, people like he ran. Can he catch a ball?
yeah.
Run routes.
I think
That's all.
Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker that the Cardinals
Oh, yeah.
drafted, he ran like something crazy at the combine.
Yeah.
And, people fell in love with him. I was
Yeah.
one of them. I was just like, damn, that guy's crazy fast. And then week one, you see him just getting burnt by Mostert.
Yeah. He had the Cardinals. Yeah, he got better the last like 4 weeks. They finally figured out kind of how to use him better. The
I
first like
blame
eight.
Vance Joseph.
Yeah, it just I have friends who are Cardinal fans, and I'm like, I hate your team as a Niner fan, but legit, what is your team doing right now? Like, I'm upset that your team isn't using
That
your
you're
player.
messing.
That's
Yeah.
that's how bad this is going. I, as a rival fan, am upset about this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can't figure out how to use Isaiah Simmons. The dude's an athletic, just freak. What are you doing? Like, just
Right.
irritating to watch, just from a football fan perspective. Like, you see
Yeah.
someone that gifted being misused. You feel robbed as a football fan.
Yeah. You're
Team
just like,
something.
really?
Yeah.
Just going to ruin his career, huh?
James Joseph. He's a special coach.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the NFC West, I think the Niners are the most improved team. Like, I know we're a little biased, but I mean, Cardinals, yeah, they did some good things, but their question marks remain the same. Coaching staff, a little bit of offensive line, and I guess they're still waiting on Kyler Murray to take it to the next level, right?
Right.
Rams, like we just talked about it, they don't have any draft picks. Yeah, they have a quarterback now, which kind of scares me. Defense lost some players, one of them being Samson,
Yeah.
edge coming to the Niners.
Johnson.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think they're still solid.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks, I think, have really taken a step back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. But I think the Niners, just because they're able to retain some of their guys who were potentially leaving, I think that makes them um, an improvement for me.
Yeah, when you see where they left off to see the question marks, right? I think they had a lot of question marks. We said with the signings, who's going to be back? Like you said, I thought, a lot of people thought that roster from last year was going to look totally different going into this season. Just you thought they were going to lose a lot of people. That hasn't happened. So it's kind of like the um, just getting those players back is huge.
Yeah.
Um, I think the familiarity and the fact that even with all the injuries last season, they still played well, right? Even in the division, I think they went 3-3 in the division, right? They beat the Rams twice. They beat the Cardinals with CJ Beathard starting. Like they still played up to the last week. They had Seattle on the ropes that last week. Like they played competitively. They won a decent amount of games with a roster that was pretty much just Frankenstein together, right? It was just pieces from all over. Like, hey, Brian Allen, what are you doing? I don't know. Why don't you come play corner for us a little bit? Kerry Hyder, come on down.
Yeah.
Hey,
It was just such fluky the
yeah,
way it was, like COVID, and you just didn't know until the day of who was playing because you
yeah,
get that bombshell like, oh, Debo Samuel's out, Brandon Ayuk is out. You just like, what was
yeah,
that Thursday night football game, right? Against
yeah,
the,
yeah.
who
River
do we
Creek
play?
Pass, come on down. Like who? The guy sounds like a country music singer. Like he's all of a sudden catching past. Like it's like, are you
Yeah,
kidding?
you just
And to win games with that, just having to Frankenstein that with COVID, right? And not being able to practice like normal, no off season, all that. And you say, okay, this season should be, knock on wood again, a regular off season, a regular, the whole, everything the way it should be with health. Like, yeah, definitely. You look at that and say, hey, this is a bounce back team. Like, just if all things being equal, like I said, with health, they bounce back. They're healthy. Like this is the team to watch. Like if you are trying to make a sly, like kind of a sneaky money bet, the Niners would be a good one just because I don't think many people are talking about them. They've moved
yeah.
on to other teams. And, the Cardinals, they got J.J. Watt and they got A.J. Green. And, there's other teams. And it's like, I think that Niners that team that's kind of back here that you kind of forgot about. Almost kind of like the 2019 team, right? Because Jimmy had been hurt the year before. They kind of had a lot of injuries and it was like, and people kind of forgot about that team. They came back mostly healthy, and then, oh my God, they're the best team in the NFC. They're in the Super Bowl. What? This has
Yeah.
that potential for that.
Agree. Yeah, it's just been what we been touching on, just one of those reload type of off seasons, and that's all they needed to do, honestly.
Yeah.
Now they're back into contention, and you know, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Without sacrificing future drafts,
Yeah,
that's I think the key.
that's the
Reload
most
now.
impressive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most impressive thing. They're able to keep all those players, still have tons of draft picks, like 10 draft picks. I mean, yeah, well run franchise so far, right? Because you're looking at, your opponents, Rams sacrificed the farm, but they got a quarterback, right?
Right.
And then the Seahawks got their safety, sacrificed the farm. It's just like, yeah, you can't have it both ways, but I think the Niners have done it more strategically and, they've kind of dissect this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, to,
It was I call it a quiet reload. Like you see
yeah,
these things, they make these flashy splash play, moves
no, yeah,
and this has been like a quiet reload, right? Nothing overly splashy. Yeah, they re-signed Williams, but it's been like, nothing splashy, nothing like front page really grabbing necessary, probably outside of the Williams signing. But when you look at the totality and everything, you're like, oh my God, yeah, they did kind of reload. Like quietly. It's a quiet
yeah,
like,
quietly, just
not
chipping away. Yeah, just kind of just slowly chipping away.
yeah,
And yeah, they're in a good spot. I love it.
definitely.
All right, man. You got anything to bring up?
No, I think we covered most of it, man.
Yeah, we got a lot off our chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still need to come up with a name.
Oh yeah. Shoot.
Yeah,
I'm gonna think on that. This week
I
is
just
already.
think it'll be like super easier to have like a
Yeah.
name for the pod.
Oh man, gotta tie it in somehow. I'm trying to think of like a phrase or something that ties into the team, but isn't something that's used like by everyone. Like that kind
Yeah.
of. I'll have to, man.
Yeah, we'll just think about it. I think it should just come natural.
Yeah.
One of those deals. But all right. Well, did you see me on live yesterday?
Yes.
That
That was
was
awesome how
crazy.
you
Look,
popped up. it popped up on my screen. It's like, oh, a coffee break's live. I'm like, wait, what? So
Yeah.
I popped in and watched like 10 minutes. I was actually doing dishes. I was like, oh, perfect. I can watch something because I'm just like staring at the window. Yeah, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thank God I have something. Yeah, that was great, man. You had a ton of people on there. That was
Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna just start doing those. And once I get it, because I'm still like kind of learning the software. Once I have that kind of learned and figured out, if you're willing, we could just like do these live. I think that would be pretty fun.
yeah, super down. Let me know. Let me know, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to expand a little bit. I'm also thinking, just to give you a heads up, for the draft, I'm thinking of just like doing like some live, like get live reaction, as the
Oh,
draft thing's going. I don't know if you got any plans, but
no, I would definitely if you're I would definitely be in on that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, just like watch it, live and then getting our reaction. I think that would be dope.
That would be yeah. I'm all in on that. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, get some couple of yeah, just drink a couple beers. I'm not really a huge drinker, but I think just for one night, I think it's solid.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm in all the way.
Cool, man. All right, well, I appreciate you, and we'll back at it next week.
Yeah, I'm sure more news will pop off tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
All right, take care, man. Peace.